What is your original occupation?
I was originally a mailman for 18 years, and then I accidentally did my little hobby in Vancouver on the beach one day, and I'm not a mailman anymore. I do my art displays all over the world in 17 countries right now.
Where you are living now?
I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Do you have family and children?
I have 3 children. Unfortunately, my wife died about 12 years ago, but I have 3 children, and they're all grown up and married.
When and how did you recognize your ability to building rock towers?
When I was a little boy, I grew up on a riverbank outside of Fredericton, New Brunswick in Canada, and I used to play in the river rocks when I was a little boy. I'd be fishing, and when there was no fish, I have rocks in my hand, just piling up rocks, playing in the rocks, really. So,
what's like ability need to this?
Just you need patience, steady hands, concentration, and focus.
Why do you do this? For money, for applause?
Well, I do get money for this, obviously, but it's nice to do big shows like this, but really what I do is I go to schools, and we have a nice thing called education, but education doesn't work for everybody. It works for most people, but the people that doesn't work for do they end up in our jails, and they end up as drug addicts, homeless people, and I like to show people that you have a great gift in here. It's called imagination. And just look at Bill Gates. He didn't have a whole bunch of education, but look, he made a computer, and no teacher taught him how to make a computer. He did it with his imaginations. And I think sometimes our schools focus too much on teaching kids how to spell and read and write, instead of teaching them how to add their imagination to the knowledge they teach them. Because I think this is where the ideas are. It's where the ideas are.
Okay. Only do this, or do you other something?
No, this is all I do now.
Not boring to build and ruin all day?
No, it's fun to build them, and it's fun to knock them down, especially when I'm outside, because I always tell people when I came here the rocks were all down and I put Mother Nature back the way I found her.
What are these sculptures or other something?
Well, I just call it visual awareness art. In Canada, there's Eskimos use things in the rocks, and they call them Inuksuks, and they're called cairns in some place. And mine is just an art display. I don't have a name for it. I just call it visual awareness art. Just art you can see with your eyes.
Are you saying is this art?
Oh yes, it's when I'm done, it is art.
How long have you done this?
Since July of 1992 as a public art display, and before that since I was a little boy playing in rocks.
Where do you work usually? In exhibitions?
I do museums, art galleries, exhibitions, schools, beaches sometimes, convention centers, a whole bunch of venues.
How do you this? Do you have any tricks?
There's no trick. The trick is making the rock stop. The law of motion says when an object stopped, it remains stopped until a force moves it. And really, all I've done is stop a rock on top of another rock and let physics work. And it takes patience and concentration and steady hands and feeling for 3 points of contact. All of these rocks touch a little triangle. They touch 3 points of contact, and I use the grain of the rock itself to balance. You have to have something to balance it on, and then you got to use the weight to find the exact center of gravity in the stone.
The lower stones is very stable.
Yeah, very.
And the top of.
Yeah, the top of the higher I go, the more tedious they get, the more balanced. But you know, I need the stability down below.
Ah, okay. How many sculptures have you built until now? About?
Oh, 100,000. Thousands and thousands and thousands. I do some displays where I work for 30 days, and I'll have 2,000 or 3,000, like in areas as big as this whole area. Huge. Well, there's been a lot of funny stories that have happened on the art displays. There was a little girl in San Juan Capistrano in California, United States, and she came up to the front of the art display, and I said, "Hi, sweetheart, how are you?" And she looked right in my eyes, and she said, "My mommy told me never to talk to strangers." And she looked at the rocks, and she looked me in the face, and she said, "And you're strange." And she walked away. And there's just been a whole bunch of funny stories, and there was a man one time in San Diego. They come up and he's crying. He's got a little boy with him, and tears are just rolling down his face. And his wife died in the hospital a few days before that, and they just really come from the funeral. And the man said that before his wife died, to come down and tell me that this was the nicest thing she'd ever seen in her life. on her dying, and she said this, and the guy standing there crying, telling me this, and I'm going, ooh. And there's a whole bunch of stories that are just, some of them are funny, some of them are heartbreaking, and it touches people. It touches everybody. It doesn't, this art display, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, yellow, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody sees something different in it, and there's a message here about being unstoppable to reach your goals in life, even when they appear to be impossible, because impossible is just a word. And when people can leave impossible as just a word and stop having it hinder their life, then nice things will happen to them. Well, I teach a lot of people, and right now there's a man in Zurich, Switzerland that does a nice art display in Lake Zurich in Switzerland. There's all kinds of people in Vancouver, Canada to do it. I taught some people in Kobe, Japan. I've taught some people in Nepal. I taught people in Amsterdam, in Paris, in Germany. A lot of places. Every place I go, I try to teach a lot of people how to do this. And especially here in Toronto, I've taught a lot of people.
If I try now and here one stone on the floor,
yes, you could get. Yeah, you.
How many times?
I don't know, but I just know it can be learned. Like everybody can learn it. I can bring in and show you the how to balance the rock. So we make this nice and solid so it doesn't move. See that? So we'll take another one and we'll put this on here. And see, that's no good because it's moving. So we have to move this around so it doesn't move. So nice and solid now. So we'll take this one here. Now, I'll balance it first. And I'm going to get you, and then I'll get you to do something here. Just let me balance it 1 second, just 1 second, and I'll do something with you here. Okay, now you put your fingers on it and just move it back and forth like this here. You do that first. Just gently, you feel underneath. Rock it back and forth. Feel. Okay, lift it up, just a few inches. Okay, now set it back down. And do it again. Really slow, really gently. Okay, we're getting this too far this way, so you got to come up a little more this way. Okay, let's try it over. Let's try it over here somewhere.
It's okay.
Okay, we'll try it there. You see? It stops. When you get that exact center grab, take your hands off. You see how solid that is? Very solid. And your next one, you just keep going, and really, that's what you do. And that's all there is to it.
Thank you very much.
Just keep putting more on.